Yeousch!
What's up guys, my name's Sam with Wiki and this is Going Nuclear, referring to the nuclear medal in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 that is awarded to you when you can get a 30 gun streak without dying. So in other words, you have to get 30 kills with nothing but your class loadout without dying, and obviously that means lethal score streaks will not count towards those 30 kills. Today I am going to be sharing my tips and tricks along with some strategies on how to get this elusive medal. If you do not know, as a reward for going nuclear, you get a very cool calling card, which is on the screen now, but I'm sure most of you guys have seen it before in the game. As you can see, I have a going nuclear countdown timer at the bottom of the screen, along with my class setup just to the right, which I will talk more about later on in this video. But first, I wanted to talk about this game type that I am playing. If you can't tell by now, I am playing Demolition here on Overflow, and I believe that Demolition is the very best game type to play if you are trying to get a nuclear medal, especially if you're trying to get your very first nuclear medal ever. So there's a few different reasons on why I believe this. The most important one is probably because Demolition has predictable spawns, which is huge. For the most part, the enemies will be spawning in the exact same place for the entire game. Also, Demolition is a round-based game mode, and it can be very lengthy, which is very beneficial because you will have plenty of time to stack up the 30 kills necessary. In this gameplay, I was actually playing with a couple of subscribers of mine, and therefore didn't really have to worry about the 2 bomb sites that much. So I took it upon myself to help the team out by spawn trapping the other team as best I could, without dying of course, because I was trying to get this nuclear medal. Now on to my score streak setup in this gameplay. I'm actually only using 2 score streaks in this game. At the time, I was using the UAV, the counter UAV, and the orbital VSAT setup, but I had just prestiged and didn't have access to the counter UAV yet, so my thinking at the time was that I did not want to use any lethal score streaks so that I could check my scoreboard and know how many more kills that I needed to get the 30 gun streak. However, there are medals that will pop up on your screen every 5 kills, letting you know what kind of a gun streak you are on. These medals can be very easy to miss though, especially if you're not looking out for them. So since this gameplay, I've actually become more accustomed to watching out for those medals on the screen. So looking back, I would say you might as well use up all 3 of your score streak slots. And all that being said, I still think the UAV, the counter UAV, and the orbital VSAT setup is great to use when going for the nuclear medal, especially if it is your first ever nuclear medal that you are going for. One, because you are going to know where the enemy team is for most of the game, whether it's because of the UAV or the all-important orbital VSAT, which we all know is one of the best score streaks in the game. And 2, because this setup makes it very easy to loop those VSATs. You will be getting assists anytime one of your teammates gets a kill, while your UAV is up in the air, while your counter UAV is up in the air, and while your VSAT is up in the air. So all of those assists mixed with the kills that you are going to be getting yourself, it makes it very easy to loop those VSATs, which is always the goal when setting up your score streaks and going for a nuclear medal. Finally, my class setup. The biggest tip that I can share with you guys and gals is to use the class setup that works best for you. I can sit here and tell you what I think the best setup in the game is, or what the best spawn trapping setup is, or best setup to stay alive, or even statistically the best setup in the game is blah 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 blah. But none of that matters if you don't like the setup, so use what's best for you. I do know a lot of people are always looking out for good classes to try out for themselves, so I will share with you guys my go-to / favorite setup in Black Ops 2 right now. We all know that SMGs are king in Black Ops 2. I think most people would consider the MSMC and the PDW the 2 best submachine guns in the game. I decided to go with the PDW today because of its magazine size. It holds 50 bullets in 1 clip, so you don't need to add fast mags or extended mags to the PDW. With the PDW, I have a suppressor, which is probably the most important part of this class. It is extremely harder to stay alive in Call of Duty without a suppressor or a silencer, depending on what Call of Duty you are playing. But you can also see I have the laser sight, the ever handy laser sight on there, which we all know is another great attachment in the game. Now on to my perks. I decided to double up on perk slot 1 and perk slot 2. For slot 1, I have Ghost, which is pretty self-explanatory. It is very hard to stay alive and hard to spawn trap the enemy team when they're staring at a red dot right in front of them. So Ghost is going to keep you off the radar. And I threw Blind Eye on there because I died a few times on a high gun streak. As you can see right there, I just got the nuclear medal. But on to the rest of my class. I died a few times, and when I say a high gun streak, I mean I died on like a 24, 25, and even once on a 28 gun streak from the Hunter Killer drone. So eventually I said, screw it, I'm putting Blind Eye on and not worrying about those pesky Hunter Killer drones anymore. Perk 2 slot, I'd say, is even more important. I have Scavenger, which is going to allow me to stick with the PDW and not have to worry about picking up any other guns, which may or may not have a suppressor on it. And then Toughness is a great perk. It might be one of the most underrated perks in the game. It is going to give you a huge advantage in a 50-50 gunfight. And if you don't have Toughness and the enemy does, you are already at a disadvantage. So I highly recommend using Toughness. Engineer is another one that's pretty self-explanatory. Shock charges, bouncing betties can be very annoying, and personally I almost always run Engineer on my classes. So that is the end of the gameplay. I didn't show round 2 in a conscious effort of making this a not a 15-minute gameplay, so that is it. You can see we won round 2. We actually won pretty handedly, and I just want to share with you guys the final score and the victory. I have a whole bunch of ideas on how to keep this series going. I actually have a nuclear medal in free-for-all game that I can share with you guys, so leave me some love down below in the comment section and blow up that like button if you enjoyed and want to see more. Thanks for watching, guys. Autobots roll out.